This series is written chronologically. If you are new to the series, please start with Season 1, Episode 1. Thank you. The Blood-Drawn Chronicles Season 10, Secrets of a Noble Prince, was written by Michael Bradley and produced by Digifox Studios. This season was brought to you in part thanks to the generous contributions of our patrons, William Wibbins and Zoe Robinson. Thank you, William and Zoe, for your generous donation. If you'd like to contribute towards our next season titled Season 11, Shards of a Broken Heart, please visit www.patreon.com/TBDC and take advantage of the awesome perks we have available. We would like to take this time to thank Lord Saunders from www.lordsaunders.com for the wonderful audio mastering of the episode you are about to enjoy. As always, thank you for listening. And now our story continues.
It came upon a winter's eve, a night so lost, 5 widows grieved. Adlam the father was no more, and upon sealing his cabot door, eyes weighed sore. Mark the day as history told, ripe events from then unfold. For this be a tale of he who owns not the lands, nor the fruits, nor the harvest, but he who owns all the gold, he who unto misery was first well sold. Lands of waste and rivers dry he once called home. An opal stone he spent his life, Michael, son of Adlam's final wife. King of soot and scattered bones, with fortunes less worth than cobblestones. Still prideful he sat on his stone with a smile to the old crone, who was Delilah, the giver of his opal throne. Poor he lived, and speared he died. Yet upon his death, what should he behold? But gold, vastly more than he could ever squander, which now makes envy eyes loom and wonder, as they see our riches glow from here to yonder. This is the psalm written of the father of House M, Michael. In this story, one will find the origin of why House M and House D seldom change or get along. It is told that after the passing of Adlam, Delilah delivered unto Michael the wastelands. The king of the dead, they dubbed him. And as with all kings, a throne was given for him to sit and rule. It is said that in Ollumdor, Death himself sat on an opal throne. And so, as the story tells, Delilah had a throne made of opal and gave it to Michael as a gift. For he who rules the wastelands basically rules death itself. To add further insult to injury, it is rumored that somewhere on the opal throne, Delilah had engraved the words, "Death is most befitting of the Prince of Nothing." If it be true or not, what is done is done. In the end, Delilah died with a smile, and Michael died a poor man's prince, never richer than his boots worn. Though never weighed in gold, Michael always kept his word, going so far as to make our house words worth more than gold, implying that the words from our lips are worth more than gold itself. Once a proud family motto, is now spoken more with cocky lips. Worth more than gold is stamped on everything owned by my house. Ironically, it is even stamped on our money, which is backed by gold. We first made our weakness our weapon, and in the end, House M has the final laugh. A laugh which has never sat well with anyone, especially the members of House D. Try as they may, they can never look over the fact that it was their doing which made us the most powerful house in the universe, for my own wealth well surpasses all the princes of Europe combined, a fact which my crimson-haired opposite knows and envies very well. As powerful as he has become, mine is still the greatest power of all, and it boils him to know it. And I acknowledge, simply looking at him as he stands still, and I say, looking at our situation now, I am reminded heavily of a story I was more recently told.
Is that a fact?
As a matter of fact, it is. A story from the New Testament of this world's Bible. In this story, the one they call Jesus Christ tells of a master of a house who went out in the early morning to hire workers. After agreeing with the workers to pay 1 denarius each for the day, he sent them into his vineyard. And going out around the 3rd hour, he saw others standing idle in the marketplace. He said, "You go into the vineyard too, and whatever is right, I will give you." So off they went. The master went out again around the 6th and the 9th hour. He did the same. And again around the 11th hour, he went out and found still others standing. And he said to them, "Why do you stand here idle all day?" They answered him, "Because no one has hired us." He said to them, "You go into the vineyard too." And when evening came, the owner of the vineyard instructed his foreman, "Call the workers and pay them their wages, beginning with the last up to the first." And when those who'd been hired around the 11th hour came, each of them received a denarius. But when those first hired came, they expected to receive more. However, each of them also received a denarius. And on receiving 1 denarius, the workers who'd been hired first grumbled at the master of the house. "These last hired worked only 1 hour, and you have made them equal to us who have borne the burden of the whole day and the scorching heat." And so the master answered unto them, "Friends, I haven't been unfair. Didn't you agree to work all day for the usual wage? Take it and go. I wanted to pay these last workers the same as you. Is it against the law for me to do what I want with my money? Should you be angry because I am kind?"
Are you so vain as to compare my house to yours?
Is that what you took from the story?
As told through your lips? Yes.
And had you heard it from the lips of another, what then would you take from the story? The same outcome. I thought as much.
It's so simple to look at others as your lesser for those of you of House M, isn't it?
It is. So you can imagine how my family sees me as I look at others as equals.
Equals? You know not the meaning of the word.
And you can thank Delilah for that. All the gold could have just as easily been yours. Yet instead, I must never hear the end of a woman scorned.
And I must never hear the end of a mistake forged by a fairy tale. And without change, the tale continues. Our blood as ink, our corpses as paper. And for what?
Glory.
But now you know as well as I the story of Adlam is nothing more than fable. Adlam the First was no more father to the Valpyr than Jesus Christ was the Messiah.
Perhaps. But as it will with both examples, it is not for either of us to say.
You are your father's son, and like your father, you will shut your ears and simply wave your sword.
Only to those who threaten the woman I love.
And yet I never threatened anyone.
Your very presence here is a threat, my dear Count. You have found your way into the privacy of me and mine. You were never welcomed. And yet, here you are.
I came to make peace.
No. You came to size your opponent. Paint it in whatever color you'd wish. I'll still continue to view it in black and white.
Are you so prideful that you think I would not have you dead if I so wished?
Call it what you will.
Careful, boy. My mercy has its limits.
And you've seen the limits of my mercy. None have yet to see the limits of my grief, the dangers of my anger, or the litter of my vengeance.
And yet you fell to your knees at the hands of a mere mortal.
There's nothing mere about the gallows. I fought a warrior.
And I have warriors in the thousands.
What you have is an army of slaves, aristocrats who hunt those solidly weaker than themselves. What you have is an army of lambs dressed as lions.
And you? You are alone. No allies. Even now, as you lay somewhere in the real world, I could have taken the elf from you. My men could have taken her, and as we speak, they could be holding their urge to kill you. You wouldn't even know it. Just like that, after I have the elf, you're dead. Because all you are is words.
Lucky for me, my words are worth more than gold.
Arrogant to no end, son of Maya.
You play a good hand, but truth lies not in your lips, but the sweat on your brow. Your plan is foolish, but I would not put it past you. After all, wasn't that how you killed your father? If I recall, it was said that you took a scarlet blade to his neck while he entered his meridium, and then you parted him of his head. Well, I can assure you that lightning never strikes the same place twice. And you will not be as fortunate the second time.
You know not what you say.
Then I shall make it clearer. You do not own a scarlet blade, but in the event that you did, and that somehow you're planning to kill me while I lay, you should know this first. I am now complete.
And what is that supposed to mean?
For me, everything. And for you, even worse.
Such empty threats.
Then promises instead. And I promise this, Deipholus, son of Dorum. If I die in this world, I shall take you with me.
Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, please feel free to like, share, comment, and most importantly, subscribe. Don't feel like waiting until next week for the next Blood Drawn episode to release? No problem. You can get access to all the episodes of this season now for just a $5 pledge on Patreon.